चलिए तो स्टार्ट करते हैं. यस, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लॉ, admin law. Now first thing first, there are only two questions from administrative law. ठीक है, either a 15 marker or 20 marker combination, or two 10 marker or one 15 marker, right? So you will get 40 mark question around from administrative law, not more than that. So give them due importance accordingly. Okay, the first thing. Second thing is that there are three major topics, but there are two minor topics also, right? The major topics are PNJ, second is delegated legislation, and the third is review of administrative action. Okay, however there are two minor topics also, right? The minor topic would be the concept of ombudsman, ठीक है, lokpal, lokayukta, ठीक है. Now with regard to lokpal and lokayukta, yeah, lokpal and lokayukta, that is also there in syllabus, right? So for with regard to that, they generally ask a question after each 2-3 years. Okay, so we will deal that in the last. First we will concentrate ourselves to these three. So the first topic that we will be covering today is the principle of natural justice. There is only one question asked in principle of natural justice. Okay, what are the principles of natural justice? Always, nothing else, right? Second type of question that you will expect in the principle of natural justice is what is the recent development with regard to principle of natural justice? What new has happened? Now let me tell you, for the last 30 years nothing new has happened, right? But still that 30 years something new has happened. Basically three major things have happened actually. The first thing is that with regard to on which the principal justice should apply. Initially it was thought that this is merely a procedural part, so it would apply on the administrative action itself. But nowadays the court have started to apply it in the legislative action as well. Okay, so that is the one new thing that has happened. It has broadened the application of the principle of natural justice. Right, so that is the new thing that has happened. Now that has not happened right now. It started in Maneka Gandhi 50 years ago itself, right? But still, it is something which is new. Second thing that comes with regard to what is the recent development. So the recent development, the second recent development would include that reasoned order has become a part of principle of natural justice. You will pass order with reasoning because it allows the other person to actually come up with a solution or sort of a remedy is there with that particular person. If there is no reason, there is no remedy. How that person will ensure that the remedy is there, right? That is the second thing. And the third thing that has happened is that with regard to principle of natural justice is post-decisional hearing has become part and parcel of principle of natural justice. Now again it is not recent, happened 50 years ago, but in this context it will be called recent development. Getting my point? Okay. So there will be two type of question. One, write the ingredient of the major principle of natural justices. Second, what has new that has happened in the case of natural justice. So three new things has happened. Right? Now new do not mean in the last 2-3 years, it is a contemporary development. Okay? Like if you think about principle of natural justice, it is supposed to be more than 1000 years old, sometimes referred as natural law. So in that context 50 years is new, right? In that context 50 years you can say is a recent development, right? But in our lifetime it is not a recent development, right? But still whenever there is a question of recent development, remember these three things you have to write down. Okay? Now all of you must be knowing that each of the principle of natural justices, they have multiple sub-parts attached to it. Okay? Now what you have to do that for each part you have to understand one case. Stick to one case. They never go in detail and talk about okay, right to give notice, right in detail. They will never get a question of 20 mark in right to notice. Okay, they will never get a question of 20 mark, okay, what do you mean by legal representation under, let's hear the other side. Right? So it means that the questions are pure and simple related to what are the various ingredients and what are the cases related to those ingredients, nothing else. Understood that particular point? Quite simple, okay? So please understand this whole class in that aspect itself. Okay, we will talk about natural justices, good lines, philosophical lines from where it has come. Then what are its component and sub-component, very nicely structured why do you have to write this is the sub-component and this is a case related to that particular component. Now you might want to choose your own case, that's alright, but I will ask you that you choose one case and stick to it. Do not try to add something new in that. Okay, because ultimately in the exam time you will forget even that. Getting my point? Understood? Okay, yeah, that happens. In exam time wo bhi nahi yaad hai. Okay, I have already sent you 2021 and 22 cases. राइट। रिसेंट आपने भेजा नहीं मैंने अभी तक आपको? ओके, आई विल सेंड यू। मैंने मेंस वालों के लिए प्रिपेयर किया था, आप भी मेंस लिखने जाएंगे उम्मीद है, तो आपको भी मैं दूंगा, ठीक है। सो इन दैट आई प्रिपेयर 2021 के इंपॉर्टेंट केसेस क्या है एंड सेंड इट टू, ठीक है, मैं भेज दूंगा, नॉट टू होल लॉ। ऑब्वियसली मेंस वालों को सब लिखना है ठीक है, तो होल है ना, और उसमें टॉपिक बाय टॉपिक जो भी रिसेंट आया है, बट दैट रिसेंट केसेस इन दैट आल्सो हैव रिटन विल नॉट रिप्लेस द ट्रेडिशनल वन, ठीक ना, वो सिर्फ ऑगमेंट करने के लिए समथिंग रिसेंट इफ यू राइट जस्ट फिल इट अप। 24 पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट है, राइट, उसमें सारे रिसेंट कुछ नहीं है, लाइव लॉ का बेसिकली एक रीडिंग है, और उसमें जो भी रिलेवेंट है हमारे सब्जेक्ट के हिसाब से उसके केस के नाम है, दैट्स इट, ठीक ना, उस केस में क्या कहा गया थोड़ा सा, दैट्स इट, नथिंग एल्स, ओके। बिकॉज दैट एक्चुअली हेल्प, बिकॉज यू नो यूपीएससी ट्राई टू मेक देमसेल्फ रेलिवेंट बाय पुटिंग अप न्यू केसेस आल्सो, ठीक है, दे ट्राई टू पुट अप न्यू केसेस एंड टॉक अबाउट इट, राइट, बिकॉज दैट जोसेफ साइन last to last year, no, question came, and I also gave the people that Joseph Science judgment summary, right? So question directly came because that was a very, you know, sort of a contemporary development. It is very important for next 15 years. It would be important. Okay, Joseph Science case. Okay, understood that particular point. Second administrative law is basically delegated legislation. Now, with regard to delegated legislation, let me tell you, it is the simplest of all the administrative law in terms of its width. Meaning, there is only one question. What do you mean by delegated legislation and up to what extent delegation is possible? Now, up to what extent entails the control as well as various theories related to delegated legislation that we lie somewhere between US and UK. That doctrine of delegatus non potest delegere, a person who have been delegated further cannot delegate, that have been curtailed, right, and it is not understood in the same sense as we understand in UK. Complete delegation is not acceptable. We will delegate, but the essential delegative function cannot be delegated. Now, what is essential delegative function? Multiple theories are there. Similarly, if the delegation is being done, the first point is essential, you cannot delegate. Second point is if you are delegating, then you will frame a proper contour that okay, up to this delegation will function. Getting my point? Okay, so that is only two type of question you will expect in delegated legislation, right? Now, in the case of review of administrative action, there is only one question. Okay, what are the grounds of the review of administrative action? Nothing else. Getting my point, right? So, these three, primarily you will get around 40 mark question, and they arrange it such a way that at least one you have to do. You cannot skip it. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं है कि ऑप्शंस में आप उसे निकाल देंगे, ऐसा नहीं होगा, राइट। सो इट मीन्स कि यू मस्ट एटलीस्ट हैव टू डू 20 मार्कर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लॉ मिनिमम, ठीक है। अगर कंपलसरी में आ गया, ठीक है, एक अगर ऑप्शनल में आ गया तब भी 40 मार्क्स ऑलमोस्ट आपको करना होगा, ठीक है। समझ में आ रही बात है? अंडरस्टूड? ओके, राइट। सो दीज थ्री, नाउ आई नो दैट पीपल study these three topics in the whole semester, right? So you might be sort of thinking that this is a lot, but this is very easy. We will finish it in 3 classes, okay, not more than that. Understand that particular point? Okay, 3 classes, 3 topics, okay. Now stick to what I have taught. Do not go and, you know, yes, write everything. Chaliye, to start.